Hello, everybody. Once again, my name is Derek Robinson. I'm the Academic and Industry Relations Manager for District 11 ASDA. For anybody that's not familiar with ASDA, that is basically the student association that we do a lot of our events with. My responsibility is to, in a normal world, go to your school, do presentations. Unfortunately, due to the times, we're kind of stuck in this environment, which is okay, right? Because now we get to bring docs that aren't from California over to talk about their experiences when they were in school in California. Let's go ahead and we'll get started. The first thing that I wanted to share for everybody that was a part of the District 11 conference, probably heard me say this 50 times, but we are offering free CE opportunity, not just to our Aspen Dental doctors, but all non-Aspen doctors and also all dental students. Go to aspendentalce.com/welcome. You create a username and a password. You have access to our entire library stuff, past CE, and future upcoming CE. I'll definitely have Dr. Soto kind of explain it if she's dabbled around with some of the CE. Additionally, you'll have access to this until March 2021. So it's a really cool opportunity. I really like to show it off because there is really no strings attached. And it'll give you an opportunity to learn a little bit more about your future career that you're planning on starting. So without further ado, I'm going to take that off and introduce Dr. Gabby Soto. Hi, Dr. Soto. How are you?
Good, you?
I'm doing all right.
That's good.
Please just give us a real quick introduction kind of about yourself, why, how you got over to Western and where you're at now and all that kind of fun stuff in between.
Okay, well, I had a choice between DC and California, and I decided, sunny California from Florida. I was born and raised over here, so California was the easy choice, well, the easy pick, basically. I loved it at Western. I felt like Western really prepared us, for the real world. Basically, I ended up back in Florida because, I have my whole family over here. And instead of going to the East Coast and staying there, I actually went to the West Coast of Florida because I had a really good opportunity over here to work with some really great doctors over here, and they really helped me out with the whole transitioning. So it's nice.
Nice. So I always like to clarify this for everybody, just so that everybody understands. You work for Aspen Dental.
Mm-hmm.
I work for a company called Aspen Dental Management Incorporated, ADMI. Just so that everybody understands, we work for two different companies. And just to clarify as well, there is no corporate instruction on our end to force any doctors. Again, it's your license. You have the ability to do what you think is best for the patient. How do you feel supported by the business support side? And can you talk a little bit about kind of the relationship with the business support side and what you've seen?
So at first, I'm going to be honest, like straight up, when I first started looking into not corporate, but basically looking into private offices and seeing what's out there, I was like, for sure, corporate, I'm not going to do. It's just not my thing. I was like, no, this is not going to happen because it's just way too fast paced. I felt like sometimes they have a bad rep, I guess, when it comes to patients, But then I liked the way Aspen presented themselves. Okay, when I looked at other companies, nothing against them, of course. I felt like Aspen kind of always gave a solution for a patient. No matter what, we always provided them with one choice or another. We never just shoo them away because they didn't have enough. So we always have a way of actually providing care for the patient. So I also liked, the compensation, things like that. Also when it comes to, doctor support, I feel like, okay, when it comes to ADMI, at first you thought, okay, it's corporate, but you get to know the people, and I'm really good friends with my regional manager, and, you start hanging out with them, and you're just like, okay, they're actually people, they're not bad. And, I liked it. It was good.
We have hearts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You guys have hearts. Exactly. So yeah, I know it's good. And I feel like they provide a lot of support. So it's a good way of getting your foot out there in the real world. Yeah.
Yeah, and just so that everybody knows, I know, there are a handful of familiar names that I see coming into the chat or into the conversation. Um, a lot of you may know me already. A lot of you may just be getting to know me based on maybe you're a first year or second year. Um, we're a culture company, and I hope, but what you can see out of our conversation is that, we are a little bit different than the average DSO. What I like to say is not all DSOs are created equal. So it is in your best interest to try to get to know all of them and understand exactly. So that's what we'll talk about today. But even before that, I'm getting some questions of people asking about your experiences. So, hi, Dr. Soto. First, thank you so much. One question I have for today is, what resources / training programs does Aspen provide to ensure a smooth transition into clinical practice fresh after dental school? So do you remember when you went straight in, when you first started up, kind of what were some of the resources or training that you did in order to make sure that it was a smooth transition?
So clinically wise, Western prepares you. So you're thrown in there, okay? But when it comes to transitioning into like the whole, business aspect, software, things like that, you have Edge. Edge was a good transition for me. I learned a lot. Basically, it's a program, not a program, basically like a training program that you go, they fly you out to Chicago or to wherever, okay?
Where did you go?
I went to Chicago. I froze my butt off. It was nice.
We also, well, your other option is Syracuse, New York. So
yeah, so that's what they told me too. I was like, well, okay, Chicago's not that bad now. Yeah, so no, it was a nice little program. I think it was about 5 days. I might be wrong. But they provide everything for you. So hotel, stay, everything all provided for you, and they help you out. So it's ADMI helping you out. It's not the doctors this time. Okay, so you're not learning off of a doctor. You're learning off of like ADMI, how the software works, how codes work, coding, things like that, office managing.
Analytics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the metrics, things like that. So it was a smooth transition for me for that. When it comes to the clinical aspect, I had an amazing doctor. He very patient with me. I'm still really close with him. So I'm still technically an associate. I'm covering my own office right now. But I did have a really good doctor that kind of helped me through the transition. So when it came to like, let's just say a crown prep, he gave me an hour and a half, depending on like what I needed, what my preferences were, he provided for me. And then little by little, you get faster and faster and faster. And then little did you know, you're doing a filling in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, So it's a smooth transition. I really like the way they have it set up for you. It just depends on the office, and also depends on the patient pool. Okay, because if you have like a lot of patients, of course you want to get faster and faster. But it's still, again, clinical aspect. You always want patient quality, not quantity. So yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, this question: how did you manage the whole job searching process while you were in school? And when did you know you were ready to make a decision?
Okay, so job search wise. So I was dead set on, I worked as an office manager before I went to dental school. I was an office manager at a private office. I had a really good relationship with my doctor. And she told me straight up, like, okay, well, when you graduate, you have a set job. It was gonna be a part-time job. On the East Coast, people have really good OHI, meaning like oral hygiene, which is great. We always want that, but I would be stuck doing fillings for the rest of my life. And I was like, okay, I want to do something else, I felt like the West Coast had more, meaning West Coast of Florida, not West Coast of California. Okay. So West Coast of Florida had a little bit more variety. So when it came to job searching, I was like, no, I don't want to go to, the West Coast of Florida because it's a little more dead over here. Like there's really not much to do. But opportunity wise, job wise, Aspen provided a really good patient base and opportunity to, get my foot out the door, basically move off on myself. I did apply for a lot of companies. I had interviews with Heartland, with Great Expressions, with Aspen, of course. And I was kind of dead set on Aspen because my best friend was also in Aspen. So yeah, yeah, it worked out nicely. Yeah, yeah.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hello, doctor! Exclamation mark. What was your most memorable experience in school?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Honestly, rotations. I think rotations were the best experience. I loved clinical because I had Dr. Dawn Van as one of my professors, and I worked really well with her. Dr. So as well. I don't think she's there anymore, but she was great as well. All of them were great. I had a really good experience in dental school, but I think rotations wise, especially in LA Christian, that was one of my best experiences. I felt like I got a really good experience there. I felt like I did a lot over there, and I gave a lot to the community as well. So
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, it sounds like Western is doing something right when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to the external rotations, which is always great.
Yeah.
What is the biggest difference in flow from clinical rotation in school to Aspen?
Flow, you see a lot more patients. Yeah.
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 What about as far as, I'm just adding on to a question here. What about as far as like procedures and things? Did you notice, like you said, the flow, like what sort of, is it a little bit different of a flow of different types of procedures versus what you're doing now?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm gonna be honest with you. So there is different Aspens have different ways of working. Over here on the West Coast, my POP, he provided us with an endodontist. So we have a root canal specialist that comes to our offices. She travels, okay? Our oral surgeon, same thing. But I do a lot of the surgeries myself. I feel comfortable with them. But when it comes to root canals, I used to love root canals. I don't know if anybody remembers me, but I was really good at root canals. But my POP was like, nope, we have a root canal specialist. Don't spend so much time on that. I was like, okay, fine, so it worked out nicely because now I get to do more surgeries and I get to do more things that I like to do. But at the same time, like, I still kind of miss my every once in a while root canal, but still I have a really good root canal specialist, and she's great. I love working with her as well.
So just to clarify here, because I am here to be the translator amongst a doctor to dental student. A POP
is sorry.
Owner of the office. It's a practicing owner, right? And those owners, just so that everybody has an idea, are doctors hire other doctors, right? So when Dr. Soto got this position, or got her position, Dr. Soto, I'm sorry, her owner hired Dr. Soto directly. We didn't have any influence other than making sure that we connected the two. Now, when she's talking about endodontists and oral surgeons, our endo and oral surgeons are on a regional basis, which means that because now it's not individual production or collections, now we're looking at team goals and working together. So the benefit of having an endo or oral surgeon in there is probably time, right, Dr. Soto? Like the amount of time that it takes for one of them to do the procedure versus you will free up time. Even though you love your root canals, it might just be a little bit simpler of a procedure. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody knows that a root canal, like let's just say a molar root canal, you can do it in like an hour and a half or an hour, depending on like the person and depending on the situation. But why put the patient through an hour and a half while, a root canal specialist can knock it out in half an hour, it's just so much easier, When it comes to an oral surgeon, the only things that I refer out to him is usually medically compromised patients, okay? I mean, anything that has big tori, of course, when it comes to extra bone, or when it comes to, just basically if it's like way dense bone, I'm like, okay, refer out to the oral surgeon and he can knock it out in, 10 minutes instead of me knocking it out in like half an hour or an hour more, So it's just easier, and you work really well, like hand on hand with them, so you're constantly talking to them. So they can always come up to you and say, hey doc, like I saw you treatment plan this. So do you like, what's your preference? Do you want me to do this first or this first? So it works well. Like I like having them there because God forbid, let's just say I had oral surgeon today. You get stuck on a tooth. You're like, hey, doctor, can you help me out here? And then they'll come in and help you out, you know? So it's nice. It's nice working with them.
That's great. So we're getting a ton of questions coming in based on this. Does this mean providers of Aspen never do any endo? Do you want to try and take that, or do you want me to cover that?
No, so I can help you right there. So actually my best friend, Spina, okay, Dr. Georgiakis, if you want to be exact, she works in Texas and she actually does her own root canals. So it just depends on the region. So in Florida, not in Florida, technically on my region, so on West Coast of Florida, we hired, well, not we, Dr. Dixon, he hired somebody, a root canal specialist, just to help us in our region. In her region in Texas, she does her own root canals. But it just
is that by choice, or is that because they don't currently have an endo specialist going into the office?
They don't have currently an endo specialist. Okay. So you can technically refer out if it gets too complicated. So I'm not saying that, if you have like an S, canal, you're doing it. No, you want to refer that out because ideally you want to make sure that the patient gets the right care.
So let me do some clarification on that too, because that's a great question that came up. Continuity of care is the biggest thing that we care about inside the offices now, which means all of our doctors that are hired to be in there, Monday through Friday, are essentially general dentists. It's your license. You get to decide whatever procedures you feel most comfortable with. And, on top of that, depending on how the patient is. If the patient needs immediate care, yeah, you can certainly help with that. However, for example, if there's an endo procedure and there is a regional endodontist that goes into that office once or twice a month, it's in the best interest to put them on that specialist schedule. And now the benefit to that is that the office still gets the success of that procedure done by the specialist that goes into that office. Same thing goes with oral surgery as well. And again, you're not going, for anybody that's thinking about going to Aspen Dental, it's not an individual thing anymore. You're working in teams. So whether Dr. Soto does a procedure or her owner, Dr. Dixon, does a procedure, that's a win for the entire office. And office success is the most important thing now. It's not necessarily fighting against the other doctors in that office to get collection or production. So I hope that clarifies it. Do you have anything to add before we move on?
No, basically, if you want to do your own root canals, you can do your own root canals. But me personally, I love doing them, and I still do them if I have to, but it just depends, on the preference when it comes to the patients. Okay.
Excellent. Cool. Okay. Hello, Dr. Soto. Does Aspen allow you to do a variety of procedures such as veneers, crowns, etc.? We're kind of on this topic already.
Such as what?
Veneers, crowns, those types of variety of procedures.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
I've done
Great.
everything.
Yeah. Again, remember, I think everybody is kind of new to the idea of what the procedure is. You get to do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. Whatever you treatment plan, you do. Okay.
Yeah.
And Aspen, they just provide you the help. That's it, and you're good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that everybody understands, it's your license. You get to do the procedures what you think are best fit for the patient, best fit for your abilities, and again, best fit for the services that you have around, like your owner doctors, your lead doctors, your endodontists. We even have lab techs in there to be able to assist you with certain procedures as well. Or I'm sorry, with like the impressions and dentures out significantly faster. So just think about it as you have an entire level of resources in order to allow you to do what you think is best for the patient.
Yeah.
All right. How does Aspen measure in terms of goals, number of procedures you must complete by the end of the month or week, etc.? You want me to?
Yeah, clarify that, please.
Yeah. So this individual is asking regarding goals and procedures. Like, do we force you to do X amount of goals and X amount of procedures in order to hit our goal? Like, can you explain a little bit how the dynamics go there in your office?
Yeah. So no, they don't. And that was one of the main reasons why I liked Aspen as well. Okay. So you feel like when you go into a DSO, that's when I was trying to like clarify before. When you go into a DSO, you feel like, okay, you have to meet a certain quota of like crowns, you know, that's what you had, like, that's kind of like a myth in a way, but at the same time, I feel like it's like, you know, partly true. But when it
It
comes to
depends on
Aspen,
the company, right?
exactly. It depends on the company. When it comes to Aspen, I've never been forced to do absolutely anything that I don't want to do. Okay. Especially when it comes to the patient care. Let's just say you have a medically compromised patient. They're not going to, you know, kind of force your hand to do like a crown or to do like to do something that you're uncomfortable with, you know? So I had a patient with Parkinson's the other day and she basically moved everywhere. And my office manager was like, don't do it if you don't feel comfortable, you know? And I was like, okay, sounds good. So I referred them out to the where they were supposed to go, you know? So, so I felt like, you know, my office manager had my back, my regional manager has my back, everybody has my back. So it's nice. You don't feel like you're forced to do things that you're uncomfortable, you know? Yeah.
Awesome. Great answer. I have nothing to add to that.
Good.
Um, do you feel uncomfortable asking another provider to step in and help you complete a procedure?
Nope. No.
All right. Next question.
Yeah, feel perfectly fine with asking. If again, it comes to the patient care. If you feel like you're not capable of you know, doing something that you're scheduled to do, and if you need help, then yeah, I mean, that's why you have a team. You know?
Yeah, and I think this is we're getting a trend of like what I think everybody's going to get out of this is it is not an individual game anymore, at least with, you know, with Aspen Dental. It's a teamwork objective now. And so there is a huge motivator, especially for Dr. Soto's owner, to really develop Dr. Soto, right?
Mhm.
Because the faster she gets up to speed, the easier it'll make that owner or that lead doctor or whomever it might be in that office, because it is a team atmosphere now. So, you know, there is an added incentive for the owners to help the associates or help the lead doctors really become the best that they can be, because it ultimately opens up the schedule and opens up the opportunity for the other doctors to do more. And the more that office is able to do, the more successful that office is going to be, the more money you're going to get paid, et cetera, et cetera. So that, just think about it like that. And these questions are amazing. I don't think I've gotten this number of questions based on, but if you learn anything today, it's that we are not an individualistic company. You're going to be working in teams, and communication is key. And that's kind of what I think is the most successful thing as to why we're growing so quickly.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
No, I mean, honestly, my POP and my oh, correct me if I'm wrong, Derek. MOP, I'm not sure. He is,
MCD.
and he's not MCD. He's technically a partner.
A partner. We just call them
Dixon.
partners.
He's a partner of Dixon, and that's who I started out with. I started out with Fort Myers with him, and they both helped me out. Like, I if I had a question or anything, I texted Dixon, or if I, like, you know, things like that. They always helped us out, you know, no matter what. So I never feel alone. But mind you, Western really prepares you as well. Especially after, like, you know, just starting out as an associate, I was jumped right away in January to start as a lead dentist at another office, you know, just to take over, you know. So
That's awesome.
It was a fast transition, but I felt really well prepared, because, you know, my POP and my, I don't know, MOP, I don't know how it is,
partner.
Yeah. Partner, there you go. Okay. So they both really prepared me really well. So I really
That's
like
awesome.
it. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you know, we're going way out of order, but I think it's because of the great questions that we have coming in. I'm just going to go straight in order now. Do you plan on becoming an owner yourself? If so, in a private practice of your own, or share with Aspen? And I can talk about that too once you go into detail on that.
So again, at first it was pay the loans and get out of DSO, but and it's not because I'm talking about, like, you know, through Aspen and everything. It's honestly, like, since I've had such a good experience with Aspen, I really contemplated whether or not, you know, that I wanted, you know, going to stay as an MCD, okay, depending on what office opens up, of course. And then partner-wise, in Florida is a little difficult because, you know, the regions is, you know, taken up already, but you can always partner up with your partner, with the partner of Aspen. So, so I really contemplated it. I'm going to take a look and see what my options are. But right now it's just getting my office afoot, like organized. So yeah.
So just to clarify for anybody that's not familiar with Aspen Dental is all of our doctors have the ability to own our offices, and we do not do any acquisitions whatsoever. So every office that we build, we're building from the ground up. We're opening about 80 to 85 offices every single year, and we just eclipsed 830 offices nationwide. In addition to, we're about to open into our 44th state. So if you think about like how big we are the largest branded dental support organization in the world. So think about it like that. Additionally, yes, every single doctor has the opportunity to become an owner. Obviously, we need to make sure that they're fully prepared. So Dr. Soto mentioned the POP. That's called our practice ownership program. It's basically a program to prepare the doctors to become owners of either a brand new office or of an existing office that's in transition of an owner. So Dr. Soto will have the ability to become an owner, obviously barring certain things like location, is that office owned or not, how many offices she wants to own. You know, right now we always recommend the sweet spot's about 3 to 5 offices. And, you know, there's a lot of things you might have to sacrifice, maybe location or certain territories based on, you know, what areas have the opportunity for multiple practice ownership. Those are all different great things that Dr. Soto has the ability to do once she feels like she's not only ready to own, but own more than one practice. The beautiful part too is that the average office in California to open like a private practice is like, you know, brand new from the ground up is like 1.5 mil. We're currently opening all of our practices up at $350,000, which means that you're not only are you getting a great opportunity at owning at a significantly discounted rate, but we also assist you with the machinery and the materials and everything, because we're the second largest purchaser of Henry Schein products behind the federal government. So we get them at a severely discounted rate. And the cost of business going into business with Aspen Dental is that we'll cover half of any machines that you want. That includes iTero, that includes CBCT, and any other supplies that go in. You're really getting a great deal because of the volume that we're purchasing at. With that said, I mentioned 2 things that I know have been coming up as questions that I definitely wanted to cover before we stop is kind of your experience with like this new upcoming technology. I know we've been getting some questions about the new tech, like, you know, Invisalign. Were you Invisalign certified at Western? And if so, how have you transitioned to doing Invisalign in the office or restoring dentures or restoring implants and all that kind of stuff?
So when it comes to Invisalign, I was certified when I came out of Western. I didn't, you know, get to like, you know, do work with it, of course, until I actually got certified through Aspen. Okay, I had to do the Invisalign training through Aspen. Of course, you go through the training and you're like, okay, I already know this, because you know you go through it really fast. But since now we do it on Zoom, it's a little bit easier and a little bit faster. Okay, but again, I've done a lot of Invisalign already in this office. I worked hand in hand, you know, with our orthodontist, and you know, it was a good transition. I already knew how to use the iTero because of Dr. Funk. So yeah, so everybody really, I was really prepared in Western already for the technology because we're already kind of up to date when it comes to technology in Western. And when we went to Aspen, I was like, oh yeah, I know what an iTero is. Don't worry about it. And then I'm like, you know, doing like, okay, now you can scan for implants, you know, basically, you know, do the restoration, the crown restoration, you know, things like that. I mean, it was easy, honestly. I mean, it was nice and it was a good transition, but again, it was a lot easier than, you know, than other doctors have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about CBCT? What was your experience? And then kind of what have you learned since you've been with the company?
So CBCT, it depends on the office, of course, if you have one or not. Okay. So when I first started out in Fort Myers, I didn't have a CBCT. So we would have to refer out. Okay. But the office right down the road literally like in Fort Myers, had a CBCT. So we would always refer to the same Aspen, and and basically they would do the CBCTs for us. But now the office I'm in, that one we actually have a CBCT. So it's nice, it's perfect, because now it's ideal. Like whenever a patient comes in and they have like they want to get an implant placed, and on one spot, we can just say, okay, CBCT, basically right after the new patient exam. So it's nice. It's nice to have all of those options and all that stuff on hand.
That's great. And on top of that, we're rolling out, and I know that you went through this, Dr. Soto. We're rolling out an official program in a brand new location with 20 chairs. We're doing an official implant training hosted by one of the most recognized prosthodontists in the area, Dr. Rawal, and he is going to be doing the training for that for essentially all of our new dentists that are coming in and some of the existing ones, as we slowly are able to get them out to Chicago and see him. So that's a new initiative that we're doing. Also with the initiative of we're trying to do our best to influence our owners to all get CBCT in their offices so that they can start to practice implant dentistry as well. So those are the types of initiatives that we have coming up, and stay tuned regarding more information on that as you continue on into the following year. You'll definitely hear more about it if you're interested. Question for Derek, unless Dr. Soto wants to chime in. How does Aspen choose to hire their providers, especially ones that are right out of dental school? Do you have any familiar with that, Doc? Do you want me to answer? Just go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So again, I am here to, so the beautiful part of working for our doctors is that they have the ability to make 100% of the decision-making powers for their offices that they own. The downfall is that they have 100% of the powers to make the decisions that they want for that office. It's kind of a good and bad thing, meaning that depending on the owner, for example, we will get to know these owners as well as we possibly can and try and connect them with as many like-minded individuals that they think would be successful in that office. However, at the end of the day, it is up to that owner to make that decision. So every individual that is interested in being paired up, let's just say, for example, regarding, you want the best development that you could possibly get, or you want somebody that is very eccentric talker that's open to be able to train, or if you want somebody to leave you alone and is only in the office 1 day a week, we have all different types of doctors. And they will be the ones that are hiring you as their associate, as their lead doc, or as their partner. So we are here to support our doctors. We do not make any decisions when it comes to hiring other than making sure that we pair them up properly with whom we think would be a good connection. And it's up to the owners, if there are offices that are in between ownership, some of the territory directors or the regional managers to make the decisions on who they think would be best to work in that office based on communication and based on teamwork and chemistry and all of that. So that's just a very basic way to kind of look at it. Okay, do you have anything to provide to that, Doc?
No.
Okay, so it is currently 7:06. I want to be very respectful, so we'll answer about 3 more questions and then we'll kind of go from there. We're getting questions related to pay. So what is pay like? And I'd be happy to jump in whenever you think, or if you want me to just start it off, I can certainly help with that too.
So one of the main reasons also why I loved Aspen was because you get, no matter what, you get a daily rate. Okay. And you're set on that. Okay. A lot of the DSOs, what they did was they did a daily rate until 6 months. And then after that, you're basically 30% of the production. That's it. Okay. And they stop your daily rate. So automatically, no matter what, you're always getting compensated with the daily rate that you're set with, in contract with Aspen. Okay. Then on top of that, you can get a bonus. Okay. So you can bonus, you actually mostly do get bonuses no matter what. at the end of the month. Okay, so it's nice because you bonus off of the office, not only by your production, but it also by, you know, your hygienist. Okay, so so it works really well. I mean, basically I'm paying back my loan very nicely, so it's okay. Okay, so so I'm really happy the way Aspen helps you out, helps the doctors out. Okay. When it comes to other DSOs, I mean, there's nothing against them. They're great. It's just one of those things that I just didn't like the daily rate, that, you know, it just stopped after the 6 months, you know? So
Yeah, let me, and I'd be happy to add on to that. We get this question a lot, and I knew that was like I was like, I can't wait to see how you respond to it.
yeah.
We've been answering this question since day one when I started working here. By the way, the question did come in. How long have you been out of school? Doctor,
Oh, I
graduated
graduated in
in
2019.
2019. So
Yeah.
she's right there.
Yep.
You all know the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, we've gotten like 4 or 5 questions regarding pay, and I think it's really important to talk about. First and foremost, no contracts. I know that that is something that might be, you know, obviously California is a little bit different regarding the rules and regulations of certain states, but across the United States, we do not have term lengths, meaning that you can leave at any time. If you don't feel comfortable, if you're unhappy with your experience, you can leave at any time. We also don't have a non-compete, meaning that if you want to work across the street for the competitor, you certainly can. In addition to that, we do have a daily guarantee rate that Dr. Soto mentioned. And I think the easiest way that we like to say this is that daily guarantee rate, A, is going to be above industry standard typically. Usually, let's just say, for example, California average, I think, is $120,000 a year. You'll be making more than that as a daily guarantee rate. It's usually going to be somewhere between 145 and 160, depending on the location, depending on what the owner doctor for that office decides. And on top of that, you have the ability to get something called profit sharing. And this is where the teamwork and the success of the office comes through. Anything from selling a toothbrush to any of the complex procedures even done by the specialists that come in, go towards the success of your office. So everybody gets a piece of that pie. It's kind of like you own a piece of that company or that office. In addition to that, the cool part is it's, a lot of it is going to be based on patient satisfaction. So if you start to kind of put it all together, you're thinking in your head, you're like, oh, so I have to also treat my patients as well as I possibly can. Not only, you know, providing them with the knowledge and understanding, but also be nice to them and, you know, do what you think is best for them. And that is what's going to make you the most successful individual in that office. And based on the patient satisfaction, you know, as an associate, like straight out of dental school, you can be making anywhere from like 160 to upwards. Some associates are making up to $210,000 a year. That's straight out of dental school. And that a lot of it depends, again, on how successful the office is doing, not just you as an individual. So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to talk any more about pay. And if you have any other questions, I'll make sure to provide my email. But did you have anything to add to that?
Oh, that's nice.
Sound
That's
good?
all. Yeah,
See,
we're
this
good.
this is what I do this for.
Yeah.
Anyways, what responsibilities come with becoming an owner with Aspen versus an associate? Do you have a familiarity with what an associate does versus a lead doctor versus an owner does?
I mean, I went from an associate to a lead. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
basically you take on an office. So
Yeah.
basically everything falls on you, if anything, okay, as a lead. But you still, again, you have a team, okay, in your office. So automatically my office manager, he's constantly you know, helping me out. Okay. So if there's any problems or anything that he has to talk to a patient, you know, I let him talk to the patient, you know, so it's okay. It works out, you know, but when it comes to a partner, then that you can take, because that I mean, basically I just know that Dixon owns like 18 offices, which is
Yeah.
incredible, but he does a great job because yeah, he's up there. So we're good.
Yeah, and obviously, so her owner, Dr. Dixon, owns 18 offices. At this particular point, he is more of a leader. You know, yes, he will be doing some small procedures based on which offices he goes into, but now his ultimate responsibility is to make sure that everybody is, you know, if anybody has any questions or any problems, that he helps with those individuals inside that office. And the perfect way that I like to explain it is, now Dr. Soto, if anybody's a sports fan, now Dr. Soto, from an associate to Dr. Soto as a lead doctor, she is now the quarterback of the office. So she's making sure that, everybody is all on the same page with the morning huddles, communication. If there's anything that maybe could be improved from the days prior, they talk about it the morning of, things of that sort. As an associate, you're going to be more like a wide receiver or running back. So you're going to be focusing on your clinical skills, improving them. It's kind of like a little mini GPR built in. You're working on a single chair and you're just focusing on improving the speed and the efficiency of your certain procedures. And you're working directly with that quarterback, so that owner or the lead doctor or whomever is considered the head in that office. That's the way that I look at it. Anything to add to that?
No, that's exactly what it is.
Okay, so we're going to do this as the final question because I want to be very respectful of your time. Hi, Dr. Soto. Can you please share the process in an Aspen office explaining the treatment plan and finances with patients? Is there a financial coordinator on the team? Also, group one shout out.
Okay.
But yeah, like treatment planning, and then like who does the finances with the patient and all that?
Your office manager, and then if you have an AOM, meaning assistant office manager, they're the ones that do all the. So basically, you write up your treatment plan. The way I do it is I write it up on paper because I'm still from the back in the age, I guess, whatever. But I was taught on writing it all out step by step. Okay. Code wise, things like that, that's all the office manager. Okay. So they input the codes that you put on the paper. So let's just say implant placement, they put the codes for the implants. If like when it comes to surgical extraction, they put the 7210, but they put it all in like visits wise, sequencing wise, making sure that the patient gets their chief complaint done. And then after that, doing the hygiene, all of that, blah, 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 blah. What I also like about Aspen, it's a comprehensive treatment planning. Okay. So whatever new patient comes in, they get what they need, basically, meaning a whole treatment plan. It's the whole mouth that you're evaluating. It's not just that one scenario, that one tooth that's bothering them, and that's what I always tell my patients, no matter what, like you're going to get a full evaluation unless, you want to pay for the limited exam, then go for it. But I wouldn't recommend it because you can get this exam done and I can give you a full evaluation of the whole mouth. And then you can kind of know what's going on in the full mouth instead of just focusing on that one infection, so yes, your office manager, he breaks it down for you, or she, sorry, breaks it down for you. And your AOM, he's there to basically help you out as well.
Yeah, the way that I like to look at it as that's going to be your little mini me, right? They need to understand how you think, how you are treating your patients and why you're treating it. And then they have to translate that into, a way to make them understand it a little bit more in detail. So every time I've personally gone into an office, I've noticed that those office managers are the doctor's best friends, because they're going to be the ones that are ultimately going to be providing that additional information once that patient has left that seat. And more often than not, I've noticed that those individuals are usually the most caring and understanding individuals, and they're going to make sure that they work on the patient very closely as well. When everything is said and done, again, they're there to, everybody is there in that office to help those doctors in that office. So, it is going to be a really important thing. The success of an office will be dependent upon the relationships of the doctors with the office managers, the doctors with the hygienists, the doctors with the lab techs, the doctors with the PSRs, which are the individuals that come in and greet and schedule the appointments. So, those are all the different areas that I think are very vital when it comes to understanding how important it is to work in a team. Like that office manager or the assistant office manager is going to need to work very, very closely. So, that's how the most successful offices are going to operate. Finally, this is my question to you, Dr. Soto. Other than In-N-Out Burger, what do you miss most about the Western University area or California?
Wait, what was that question again? Besides In-N-Out Burger? Because I missed
that. I said, other than In-N-Out,
uh-huh.
what is the thing you miss the most about A, being in California or being at Western?
I miss a lot, honestly. I mean, I love Florida, don't get me wrong, but California, dang, I miss, the hiking. I mean, we're a flat land over here, so there's not much you can do over here. But again, there is the Miami area, there's all that. But at the same time, when it comes to Western, I do miss the professors. I know that sounds really sad.
I miss
um,
you.
yeah, I know. You kind of you have that love-hate relationship in the beginning, but then you're like, dang, once you don't have them, you're like, man, I really do miss them. And which, by the way, Dr. Raul actually knows Dr. Urdaneta if he still works there. But I'm pretty sure he does. But yeah, he was prosthodontist over there. My pros professor that I absolutely love. I love Dr. Sanders and Dr. Urdaneta over there. I loved bothering them during clinic. So when I talked to Dr. Raul, when he actually told me, he's like, yeah, no, Western, Dr. Urdaneta, I was like, oh, wow, okay. That brought back so many memories. I was like, dang. And I texted Dr. Urdaneta and I was like, hey, I have one of your friends here. And he was just like, oh wow, tell him I say hi. I was like, okay, right,
That's
whatever.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
So
Dr. Rawal is he's our senior vice president of implant support services. He's a bigwig.
yeah.
And if anybody wants to get to know him, I have a live session with Dr. Rawal on the AMA website. So I'll make sure to include that in everybody's email once we're all complete. But
Yeah.
once again, thank you so much, Dr. Soto. That's all we got for you. Everybody give her a virtual round of applause.
Thanks.
And finally, I just want to say one final time for everybody that might have showed up a little bit after, free CE opportunity, aspendentalce.com/welcome. You're going to have full access to anything that Dr. Soto has access to until March 2021. I think that's freaking awesome. So, and with that said, thank you. There's my contact information for everybody that signed up and attended. I'll make sure to send you my contact. There's Dr. Soto's email. I know I had a couple people asking about that. Feel free to send over an email regarding anything. Thank you all once again regarding anything. Do you have any final words before we let you go, Doc?
No. I mean, honestly, guys, you guys are gonna be well prepared at Western. You guys will be fine. Don't freak out. Aspen is definitely a good place to start out. And even stay. I mean, honestly, I'm even staying. So it's like, it's a win-win. So it's nice once you start out here, and you're always going to have somebody to back you up in Aspen. So if you guys have any questions or anything, you guys can feel free to email me. Yeah, and again, definitely I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Doc.
No problem.
See you all.
Alrighty.
Western
Bye.
U representing. I'll see you all soon too. Hopefully
All right.
in person too. Thanks, Doc. Get a good
No
sleep.
problem.
Talk to you
Stay
soon.
safe. Okay,
Bye
sounds
bye.
good. All right, bye.